Hi, Marcus Lim here, and I'm here today to unwrap or unbox the gallery edition of Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. Now, this has to be one of the biggest ever books that I have ever purchased, as you can see from the size. And so let me just go right into it, okay? And as you can see, this really is a very, very big book. Let me just take this off first. So this is the gallery edition of Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, and this year happens to be the 30th anniversary. So this is released in time to celebrate its 30th birthday, right? Now, to be honest, this is my very first ever artist edition of any book, and to be honest, I guess to pay upwards of US $175 is quite a bit to ask. But because this is The Dark Knight Returns, which is still one of the greatest Batman stories ever told, it's one that I've made an exception for, which is why I've decided to get my first ever gallery edition book from Graffiti Designs. Okay, and just very quickly, over the years I have collected other editions of The Dark Knight Returns. Here you can see the 10th anniversary edition. So this would have been, I guess, a 1996 edition of The Dark Knight Returns. But notice how much smaller it is compared to the gallery edition. And also, there was an Absolute Dark Knight edition of the book as well, which was which collects both The Dark Knight Returns and its sequel, The Dark Knight Strikes Again. But let's focus on the gallery edition. And again, its size, right? It's big, and the reason is because the whole idea of these gallery editions is to reproduce the original comic book artwork by the artist, in this case Frank Miller, as it was originally drawn on the comic book board, right? And this is the size of it. This is exactly the size that the artist used to draw his comic book art on. Okay, so let's take a look at what's inside the book. So let me just flip through very quickly some of the pages. And right from the start, you can see the fervent or feverish imagination and kinetic lines going on, right? And this is a very raw, I guess, take on the book. You can see exactly what Frank Miller was going through in his mind as he was producing it. So, for example, right, this is the cover for the first issue of The Dark Knight Returns, and this translucent overlay, right, it says it's Miller's roughs to The Dark Knight Returns cover. So his very rough draft of the cover before this final version of the cover was produced with coloring by Lynn Varley. And so just flipping through, you can see that it's truly I guess what it was intended, what it was originally like, with notations, with whiteouts, with all these erasure marks. Because this is exactly reproduced from the original comic book art by Frank Miller, except for some of these, which it says not scanned from the original art. But I believe that 80% of the book was actually painstakingly reproduced from the original art. by from I guess collectors who have collected the art over the years. So let me quickly just go through this. Alright, and I think there is one particular page that I'm interested to look for. I think that's in the Dark Knight number 3, because actually, as you can see from all these pages, you can see the really rough, I guess, version before it was finally published in color. So let me just quickly flip through this. Hunt the Dark Knight. Alright, so here it is. So this is book number 3 now. I'm just going through this a bit quickly. And also scattered, it's interesting because scattered throughout the book, you know, you can see again like translucent overlays. And over here it tells us that this overlay, they are Frank Miller's re-inked panels. Okay, re-inked panels. So in this case, this panel and this panel, they have been re-inked by Frank Miller. And you can see originally that's what it, well, I guess this is what the inker Klaus Janson, these are his inks, but Frank Miller actually reworked the inks. Okay, so so that's part of the fun of a book like this, is that you get to see the a bit of a creative tension happening between the inker Klaus Janson and Frank Miller. And this is the page that I'm talking about. So apparently this comic book art, the original comic book art for this page, it went for auction for around close to $500,000. So believe it or not, right, $500,000 just for this original comic book page. So I reckon that a reproduction of this for US $175 is actually a steal compared to having to pay $500,000. Okay, so I'll flip through the rest of the book, but I think you can get the idea of what kind of book this is. It's a very raw, I guess, trip through into the mind of the writer and the artist Frank Miller. So let me just quickly go through this very quickly. Yeah, as I said before, there's a lot of these translucent overlays that show us Frank Miller's re-inked pages on top of Klaus Janson's inks. Okay, so flip through to the end. And this is the last one. And what have we got at the back? We have, I think this is a huge poster, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. Look at that. So a double-sided poster, right? Both featuring Batman, and just the poster, just the opposite side. Okay, and let's see what else we've got. So covers and miscellaneous arts. All right, all kinds of covers and miscellaneous art. Oh, that's pretty cool. Again, we've got artwork by, I think, Frank Miller with translucent overlays. And here we reach the end. We've got biographies of Frank Miller, writer, artist, and inker Klaus Janson. And so that is it. And I think I want to point out something as well, is that I really like this binding. You can really lay the book flat, as if you are combing through a portfolio, right? So that's very cool for a book like this, which is essentially showcasing the artist's original artwork, right? In a large size book like this one. So I hope you enjoyed that view or that glimpse into the book. And as I said before, this is probably the biggest comic book collectible item that I've ever owned, and like I said before, I think it's worth it because it's Batman, The Dark Knight Returns. So thank you for watching.